Hey guys, here's a St. Patrick's Day wreath to make for your door. Enjoy! Here are all the supplies you're going to need. First, you'll need some green yarn. I use this one because it kind of has a rainbow effect going on. Some burlap in a 2.5 inch strip. Scissors. Pins. These ones are dressmaker pins. Beads. I used gold. You'll also need a letter initial, some green felt, I used 3 colors, a hot glue gun and glue sticks, and also a foam wreath form. First we're going to start by making the shamrocks. Begin by cutting small squares of one of your colors of felt. This is going to be the backing for your shamrocks when you glue them all together. Next, cut an 1.5 to 2 inch strip of felt and then fold it in half and cut it. Next, you're going to fold that into thirds. This is going to end up being the cloves for your shamrock. One of those pieces and fold it in half. Remember in elementary school when you would fold a piece of paper in half to cut out a perfect heart? Well, that's what you're doing here. Except for there's one difference. We're going to cut a little notch out of the bottom of each of your hearts. Start from the open end and work towards the folded end. Now put a strip of hot glue on the straight end of that notch you cut it out and then fold it together and press the glue. This will make your shamrock kind of pop out a little bit from the page. You're going to need to do this to each leaf petal thing that we're making. I'm not sure what they're called on shamrocks, to be 100% honest. So do that to all 3 of those. Then take one of the squares that we made for the backing and put a good amount of hot glue. Then that's what you're going to press your leaves against. Then take one of your beads and thread it onto your dressmaker pin and press that through all of it while the hot glue is still a little warm. It'll make it much easier if you do this now rather than waiting till later. Go ahead and make as many of these shamrocks as you want for your wreath. Next part is wrapping the wreath form in burlap. By putting a layer of hot glue down to hold the burlap in place and place the burlap against that. Careful pressing the glue because it will be hot. Then wrap your burlap around at kind of an angle and overlap a little bit as you go to make sure that there's no white peeking through. If you reach the end of the strip, just glue down the end. Hopefully it'll land on your back side, and then grab a new piece of burlap and glue it overlapping the end and continue wrapping around. Again, be really careful when you're pressing the burlap down because some of the hot glue will seep through. And then just continue wrapping until you get to the end and secure your burlap with more hot glue. Next, we're going to wrap the letter in yarn. And by securing the yarn on the back with some hot glue. I'm going to wrap my letter multiple ways just so that all the corners are covered, all the edges are covered, and I'll show you what that looks like at the end. I don't find wrapping these letters in yarn extremely difficult, but it is time consuming. This took me about 20 minutes to do, but they look awesome when you're all done. So make sure you're using the thick cardboard letters when you do this, otherwise it'll have a tendency to bend with the tightness of the yarn that you're wrapping it with. And always secure it in the back with hot glue. Here's what it looks like, and here's what I mean with all the edges covered. So now that we have all the other parts done, we are finally ready to assemble the wreath. So as you can see, I put some pins in the back of the letter to insert into the foam wreath. The reason why we're using pins with everything is so that it can easily come apart and you can change the colors for a different holiday and use the same wreath form over and over and over again. Layer in your shamrocks in whatever way you feel looks best. I kind of tried not to put too many of the same color next to each other, just to give it a more visual appeal. Last thing I did to add some more sparkle was put a bead onto one of the pins again and stuck those randomly around the wreath. This will give it a little bit more of the gold and the sparkle and the shine, and it just looks pretty to me. So here is our finished wreath in all its glory. It's hanging on my door right now. I really hope you guys give this project a try, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Bye guys!